coughed. So,
Oh yeah, the other thing.
Other thing?
Hallie, may I come over your house?
I raised an eyebrow, even if she couldn't see it. Sure, but any specific reason why? She huffed.
I want to see my boyfriend. Surely that's reason enough.
I chuckled at her teasing. Sure then.
Yay.
There's some more stuff I have to do, but by the time you get here, everything should be in order.
Sounds good. See you in an hour or so.
Sounds like a plan, Stanley. She laughed.
You're a goofball. But that's why I love you. Mwah.
She kissed into the phone. Moi? I hesitantly kissed back, unsure of my actions.
Bye-bye.
After that, she hung up the phone. Alright, well, it seems I have to hurry up and finish cleaning. There's no time to lose. Around an hour and a half later, I was finally finished. Oh, Monica's late. I wiped my brow to make a point, despite my house being cold and this work not being too strenuous. But I was still happy to be done. I put on another layer of deodorant just to be sure, fixed my hair, and walked downstairs. I sat down on my couch and booted up a video game console. Monica wasn't there yet, so why not use some of my free time? Once it turned on, I checked my downloads. Sweet, it's finished! I opened the game I had purchased last night and watched as 2 logos showed up on my television. After the 2 logos, I saw the name of the game and the title screen. 2 people were present, a male and a female. I looked at the male. We really do have the same haircut. Oh, you bought RE4, did you? Huh. After that, I navigated through the menus, and then started the game. Got my head chopped off by a zombie. Ding dong! That must be Monica. I set down the controller to go greet her at the door. I smiled and opened the door.
Hallie!
Hey, Monica.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too. She coughed.
So,
Yeah?
may I come in?
Of course. I moved to the side to allow her entrance. Sorry about that.
No harm, no foul.
Monica walked past and into my humble abode. Make yourself at home. I just cleaned up, so I hope you're not too disgusted. She giggled.
Everything seems in order so far. You know how I get about cleanliness after all.
I chuckled. That I do, girl. Monica continued exploring the house until her eyes landed on the video game. Uh-oh. I'm not sure how she feels about video games. But you know what? Who cares? Statement, not a question. If she doesn't approve, what's the big deal? That's not her business.
Oh, I love this game.
Excuse me? She sat down on the couch and picked up the controller.
Oh, sorry about that, but do you mind if I...
She gestured to the television. Oh, totally. Feel free.
Thanks.
I sat down next to her as she unpaused and watched as she tried to adjust herself to the controls.
Used to play this with a GameCube controller.
Wow.
What? Didn't expect a girl like me to be into this sort of thing, huh?
I twiddled my thumbs. She giggled.
Well, I'm not really. It's actually my papa that got me into this sort of thing.
Your dad likes this stuff?
Yup. Believe it or not, he's a total nerd.
We both chuckled.
I used to watch him play these kinds of games all the time when I was a little girl, and to say it simply, I was entranced.
Hey, wait, he let you watch, like, horror games? I'm still banking on this being Resident Evil.
Call me sadistic, but watching him tear through wave after wave of enemies was satisfying. On my 13th birthday, he finally let me play, and wow, that was probably the second happiest day of my life.
Second? If that was your second, what was the first? Is it when she just confessed her love to you? She paused the game, turned to me, and smiled. She kissed me on the cheek.
The day I met you.
Oh, okay. Monica quickly turned back to the game, definitely trying to play off what just happened. My face rapidly heated up after that, and I slowly turned back to the game too. She's really fucking good at this.
Anyway, speaking of my papa, I'm actually rather surprised my parents got together.
Why's that? That seemed like a weird conversation starter, but I can't say I wasn't curious.
Well, let's just say that my mother was the total opposite.
Was she?
My mother was super professional. Her and Yuri would have gotten along.
She chuckled.
She was professional, and my dad would spend his time playing video games. A match made in heaven, as you can tell.
I smiled at her joke.
They shouldn't have worked together, but they did. They were together for 30 years. They met in high school and got just kinda hit it off.
You keep referring to your mother in past tense. Did she? Monica sighed. Shit.
Yeah. My mother died a few years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. It's been hard. But me and my papa are doing fine on our own.
So glad I can't see like Monica's expressions during all this. May I ask how she passed? Hallie, you're overstepping some boundaries.
Oh, sure. It was, breast cancer.
Really? She nodded.
Just came out of nowhere, you know. She wasn't strong enough to win the fight. But I don't blame her. She wasn't exactly in her prime anymore.
Well, I know you said you didn't want me to be sorry, but I really am sorry for your loss. Wait, hold on. They met in high school, and they were together for 30 years. So, yeah, that would be like 45, maybe 50-ish, I guess. I don't know. She kissed my cheek. Thank you. She turned back to the game, but only a few seconds later, she unpaused.
Hey, Hallie.
Yeah?
Do you think we'll be like that? Together until the very end?
I mulled this over. I would hope so. She leaned her head on my shoulder.
Me too.
Oh, somebody's going to be heartbroken by the end of this mod, and I don't think it's going to be Yuri. I had sat down on my desk chair and was thinking over the events of the day. Today was a pretty good day. Yuri came over, and even if the time spent with her was short, it was nice. Her giving me her poem was a nice gesture. And then I had a lot of fun with Monica, even if we did get pretty serious at one point. But all in all, I had a pretty damn good time. My life is changing, and I believe it's for the better. I stood up from my chair and switched off my light. I pulled off my shirt and fell into bed. It's late. Usually I would be up into the early hours of the next day, but I'm not so sure if I should be doing that sort of thing anymore. Monica probably doesn't stay up that late. What would she think if I did? I shuffled around, getting my body into a more comfortable position. Oh. Speaking of staying up late, I slowly got out of bed and stood back up. I walked over to the backpack that sat in the corner of my room. I unzipped it and pulled out a book. Portrait of Markov, the title read. I sat back in bed and turned on my desk lamp. Might as well read a little. Catch up with Yuri. Abrupt change of music. I wish we were reading it together, though. I always enjoyed when we would sit side by side and just read. That probably can't happen anymore, though. In her words, I'm courting Monica now. I guess getting with somebody has its drawbacks. You're less lonely by technicality, but are more lonely because you can't be a bachelor anymore. I guess that's a good thing, though. Nobody wants to be a bachelor forever. That's not everybody. So it's nice. Just depends on how you look at it. I'm tired. But this book sure is interesting. After a few minutes of reading, I had slowly set down the book. I don't like this feeling. This feeling of, dread? Dread, yet an overarching feeling of happiness. I feel like while I've accomplished something, yet also taken a step back. Something along those lines. Something bad has been prevented, but something worse has only just begun. Look, Sayori, all I'm saying is that if boobs were real, I'd have seen some by now.
You're a real goober, Hallie.
Thank you, thank you. Glad to know that I can still make my best friend laugh.
Wait, I'm your best friend?
Hmm? Well, of course you are. Did you think you weren't?
Oh no, but it makes me happy to know you think so.
Of course, Sayori. I smiled. Ring.
Shoot! Sorry for the weird heart-to-heart, but I gotta go to class.
Shoot, I do too.
I'll see you later, best friend.
She giggled and ran off. She calls me a goober? Or she calls me the goober, rather. I shook my head and walked off to my own class. Halfway there, I sighed to myself. Let's hope Kurusu-sensei takes whatever excuse it is that I come up with. I opened the door and prepared for a verbal lashing. Oh, good afternoon, Hallie. He looked at his watch. 5 minutes late. Any specific reason why? He raised his eyebrows. I was, in the bathroom. Damn it, there's no way he's believing that.
Oh, alright then. I can't blame you for bodily functions, so please take your seat.
Alright then. Thank you, Sensei. He nodded. I walked over to my desk, took off my bag, and sat in the chair. Ugh, chemistry class. So boring, Miss Ida is screaming. Sleepy. Consciousness. Fading. Hallie, said someone. Hallie.
Hallie.
Huh? Oh, crap.
Question, Hallie. How do you calculate the quantity of heat?
Oh, it's just MC, triangle, T equals Q. I guess I was supposed to be a delta. He went dead silent.
That is, correct.
I may have been asleep, but I do know my chemistry, and yet you find it boring. Even if I do hate it. The bell rang shortly thereafter, and we all packed up to leave, me being the first one out the door. God, I despised that class. The teacher was rude, the topic was boring, and the students weren't worth talking to. It wasn't their fault, but the environment killed my any form of fun that you could think of having. So that kind of translated over to them. But hey, lunch period. I smiled and continued my walk to my usual eating spot. When I arrived, I peeked through the window into the classroom. When I could only see darkness, I took a step back and saw the sign posted on the door. I'm not in for lunch today, sorry. Damn. Well, seems I'm gonna have to find a new spot. I went over to the options in my head.
Other classrooms? Nope, I don't like many of the teachers here. The roof!
Hell no, that's where all the popular kids hang out, and I'm nowhere near their level. The library? I suddenly remembered the book I had in my bag. Oh, that's perfect. I can catch up on reading, and it'll be nice and quiet. Yeah, great idea, me. I changed my course and started walking towards the school's library, a pep in my step. Well, the library. The place I never would have pictured myself going for the lunch in my first or second year. But times change, as they say. I looked around for an available spot before spotting a familiar head of purple hair. Yuri? What's she? This is a library. Bookworm heaven. Why would she be anywhere else? I smiled to myself and took a seat next to her. She was completely buried in her book. She didn't even notice me take a seat. What you reading?
Good Lord, Hallie. That scared me.
We scare you a lot, don't we?
You really got me there.
She coughed.
Well, what are you doing in the library? I've never seen you in here before. Though, if you came here because you're truly getting interested in reading, then that makes me really happy to hear.
Yup. I wanted to catch up on Portrait of Markov, and this seemed like a good spot to use up some of my free time. I did not have the heart to tell her that this was my fourth choice. Anyway, you never answered my question.
Question?
Yeah. What you reading? If you don't mind me asking, of course.
Not at all. It's called The Girl Next Door.
Ah, what's it about?
Well, it's about a boy named David who has two new people move into the house next door. A girl named Megan and her sister Susan. Megan is 16 and Susan is 10. But that's not very important. Anyway, over time, David starts to notice a lot of abuse.
Abuse? How do you mean?
Well, the most recent abuse done to Megan was her being tied up and,
As in, Yuri nodded. Jesus Christ, Yuri.
And then she, had a female circumcision done on her with a propane torch.
Jesus. She wasn't able to say sexual assault, but she was able to say that? I frowned internally. That's a little, brutal, don't you think?
No, definitely. My, interest in this novel can mostly be defined as morbid curiosity. I'm a little too invested to stop reading now.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. I've been a victim of curiosity a few times myself.
Right.
Yuri turns back to her book upon no response from me. I turned to my backpack, which housed the lunch I had brought from home. I think I'll just eat with that when I get back home. I'm not super hungry anymore. Wait, speaking of food. Hey, Yuri. Did you already eat your lunch? Or do you not have one?
Oh, I just forgot to pack a lunch today. It's not a big deal.
Well, do you want some of mine? I quickly grabbed out my bento so she couldn't decline without seeing it first.
I'm, good. Thanks for worrying, though.
Alright, suit yourself. I'm not gonna eat it, but if you want it. I opened it up, revealing a brilliantly home-cooked meal. It's right here for you. There for you, rather. I set it to the side and pulled out Portrait.
You're trying to entice me to eating it, aren't you?
I nodded.
Oh, well, it's working.
Eat as much as you want.
Thank you, Hallie.
She grabbed the chopsticks I included and began to scarf down the food. It was as if she hadn't eaten a proper meal in weeks. Is everything okay at home, Yuri? You have meat on your bones, so you're not malnourished or anything. Is my food just that good? I smiled. In order to stop myself from worrying, I decided on that as the reason she ate so quickly. Okay, I can understand you liking the food, but please slow down.
Sorry.
Shortly after, she put down the bento. It was empty.
I didn't mean to eat all of it.
I smiled. Don't worry about it. Was it at least good?
Very. Where did you get it?
I made it. Her eyes widened.
Wait, you can cook?
Of course. Surprise?
I am, but I won't say it isn't a pleasant surprise. It was very good.
She turned back to her book until suddenly her face changed.
I'll be right back.
Where are you going?
Just to the restroom. Lunch period is ending very soon, though, so you might just want to be getting a class. But I had a good time talking to you, Hallie. And thank you again for lunch.
She grabbed her bag and turned to walk off.
Farewell.
And she's off. I put the book in my bag, and right on cue, the bell rang. Yuri was right. Lunch period was ending soon. Although I wonder why she had to go to the bathroom so quickly. Hopefully it wasn't some kind of food poisoning. Jeez, Yuri would be the type to not tell me if my food hospitalized her. She can be too nice for her own good. But that's just another part of the personality that I view so highly. The personality that I find so cute. Never change, Yuri. Never change. Ring. Crap, that's the late bell. I flung my bag on my back and sprinted out of the library. 1 week later. See you later, guys. Everyone said their goodbyes, but when it got to Yuri...
Farewell, Hallie.
I avoided eye contact and waved. I exited the classroom shortly after. Well, that was terrible. I'm afraid it's a necessary evil. Yuri is... Well, my relationship with her, at least, it's complicated. I never thought I would say those words, but it's true. Back in that library, I called her cute. In that moment, I completely forgot that I had a girlfriend. That was out of line. But I think the biggest issue was the fact that I had called Yuri cute more times than I had Monica, which led me to my situation. I needed to spend less time with Yuri and more time with Monica.
Hey, Hallie.
Speaking of Monica, I turned around to face her and watched as she jogged to catch up.
Wake up next time.
Sorry. I chuckled. She smiled at that and began to walk at my side. Though suddenly her face changed.
Hey, let's talk.
Shit. What did I do? As my mind raced over every mistake I had ever made in my entire life, Monica spoke up.
Hey, it's nothing that bad. You're not in trouble or anything.
Oh, thank God. You really got me going there. But if I'm not in trouble, then what's up?
It's about Yuri.
Okay, now I'm panicking.